Good evening, Lummi Nation. This is LNN for Friday, March 22nd, 2013. I'm Henry Hillaire. Thanks for joining us. In this edition of LNN, Phase 6 of the Silver Reef is moving along smoothly as Aaron Thomas takes us on a tour. Lummi fishermen are gearing up for the halibut fishery beginning this weekend. Also, we'll sit down with Chairman Tim Balutu for an LIBC update. Finally, we'll take you around the res with Freddie Lane. Lummi fishers are taking to the waters for the spring halibut fishery March 23rd. Natural Resources Commission Chair Elden Hillaire talked with us about the halibut fishery and updated our LTV viewers on the 2013 sockeye forecast, clam jammers outlook, including divers and hunting updates.
Well, like you were saying, we got the halibut fishery coming up. It's scheduled for noon on Saturday, but we have a weather call today to see if the conditions are going to be good enough to open up. I think it's 15 to 25 and 8-foot seas. I think we at the highest. If we'll postpone it and wait for the weather to clear up, so everybody's got a equal opportunity to harvest some of those fine tasting fish. I know they're fine. So, you know, we're still doing the clam season too as we're speaking. I think we're opening up in Portage. They finished up on Robertson Road last weekend, did it in a couple of days. They had pretty good opening there, 6,000 pounds first day, so that was mighty fine to everybody's surprise. Sounds like the price is holding at about $1.60. It was up to $2.10 this year, pretty high price, so guys are really appreciative of that. And then, of course, we're in our preseason salmon season. We're negotiating now for our annual agreements. Forecast for the Fraser came out about 2 weeks ago. It's a $500,000 U.S. share for sockeye, and of course, we're going to keep a little of that so we can start the pink fishery when they show up. I think they have a forecast for $3.5 million for U.S. pinks this year, so it should be pretty good as long as we can find the market for them. Well, the divers, they were trying to get their geoduck harvest for this year, but because of water quality, they haven't been able to get out there. So we're actually going to roll over this year's quota into next year, and they want to try and get it sometime in April or May when the market is more favorable, and hopefully the water quality will come back so that they can get in there, because they need back-to-back tests of about 80 millionths, I think, of the PCP. So, you know, they're staying tuned, and the market dropped really bad there. I think it was about $5 to $6 a pound, so they're hoping it comes back to about the $10 to $12 range. And you know, the other thing you were talking about is the wildlife and gathering. The tribes are starting to come together and realizing, you know, because of the state's harassment on the enforcement side, that we have to move forward with that court case. And we have 10 tribes that are signing off on a memorandum of understanding so we can share our information and move forward with the court filing. And the chairmans are also talking to the Skokomis tribe because they filed a smaller case, kind of conforming to the Buchanan case, which is bad for us. But it seemed like they are willing to put it aside for the larger picture, because even the eastern tribes are willing to stay neutral as we move forward. And they got a lot of hunting over there that they're just getting so harassed, and they're trying to get their roots and berries that they know that the writing's on the wall to bring this case forward. So, Colville and Yakima are very supportive, but then they want to stay neutral as they move forward, because they have their little disagreements over there too, just like we do over here. And that's one of the things I'd like to touch on too, is that we had the Lummi Sklallam court case, and we had two findings by the judge now, and his ruling's really vague, but we're going to stay with 22A line just south of the San Juans for the halibut fishery. We're putting our little disclaimer on there that this no way does give up any of our UNA, that we're just going to do that out of respect for everybody else, so that they'll understand what we're doing, and so they can plan for what they want to do and try to catch fish. But on the flip side of it, you know, we make no qualms that we fish, and we're fishing community. And so we're going with 8 skates per fisher, so it should be pretty interesting this year for the halibut fishery as we move forward. Springtime brings spring salmon, and this year the commission's elected to support a recommendation from staff, and we're gonna, instead of having the Mother's Day fishery open to the community, we're gonna use those fish that we can take in a tangle net fishery where we'll have less mortalities. So in turn, we'll be able to catch more hatchery fish. I think last year they tried it a couple of weeks, and the catch and release mortality was modeled at 50%, so you could catch twice as much fish as long as you released them all, the wilds. So this year, it seems like there's enough information to say that there's only 20% mortality. So we'll be able to catch even more fish. And so what we're going to do with those is, of course, the first salmon ceremony, which we traditionally do anyways, keep them for there. But, you know, we also have Stomach coming up, and it'll be here quicker than we know. And our supplies in the freezer and things are getting really short with all the tragedy we've had this year. So, you know, we're going to start putting them away for Stomach as well, because it's a, you know, additional expense to the tribe. And if we can defray those costs by catching them as we're getting more science and knowing what the patterns of our spring Chinook is, it's a win-win situation, I think. The agreement that we are going to have is between 10 tribes now, and that's a good chunk of the ones on the west side of the mountains. And fortunately, I think from our perspective, it's the ones that got lots of money too, so they're all willing to chip in up front as we work through getting the United States on board. And when the United States gets on board with us, and then we have more funding available to really bring this case to a head, because our hunters and our gatherers are getting ticketed for trespassing, and you know, getting weapons confiscated, and because our seasons are different from theirs, and so they interpret it looking at their laws and not our laws. But we're trying to get most of the cases referred back into tribal court, where they can have a real justice served to them. The tribal members should be. So that's pretty much it. I'm hoping that we can make this a regular thing, Fred, because it's always been a joy talking to you and letting the community know what's going on. Things kind of move rather quickly this time of year, so you know, if we can, maybe one of these days we'll do a live show again, and I may or may not give out my phone number again at that time. So.
All right, Elden. Hey, it's good talking with you. Thank you.
Excitement abounds as the May 9th opening of the Silver Reef Hotel, Casino, and Spa expansion grows ever nearer. With the new event center, the Silver Reef will host the largest conference center in Whatcom County, adding over 200 slot machines and a new Mexican-style restaurant called the Cantina, according to Aaron Thomas, marketing director at the SRC.
You know, we're super excited to almost unveil this entire project, and you know, we're getting within weeks now to doing that. As we saw earlier, you know, the reason why we did this expansion mainly is because we saw revenue opportunity for the tribe, and especially when it came to, you know, businesses wanting to have their meeting spaces here. And you know, we've been competing with like the Lakeway Inn and Bellingham, and a lot of folks like Lakeway Inn because of the Bellingham proximity, but because they were bigger than what we currently had with the pavilion and the legacy room. But this space, as you saw earlier, we've got you know, the theater, which is a brand new state-of-the-art audio and visual 150-seat tiered seminar theater is what it's really designed for. Folks can come in there, and it looks like Regal Cinemas, like in Barclay Theater, but it's going to have desks and a variety of different nice reclining, or not reclining seats, but nice plush seats in there. And of course, state-of-the-art audio and visual for those that want to do those kind of events. Then we got the event center, which is a 10,000 square foot space. Currently we have the pavilion, which seats about 440 people for concerts, and this one's going to be for 1,000 people. So it's about 4 times the size of the current pavilion. And so again, we'll have bigger acts, hopefully better acts, and catering to a bigger demographic. We're already going to start out with Peter Cetera, formerly of Chicago. The lead singer of Chicago is going to be opening up and headlining the new theater, or the new event center. So we're totally excited for that, and for businesses to really come out here for this. Of course, 225 new slot machines. That's how we are able to pay this back, is of course through slot revenues. But then we've got other meeting spaces as well, called the director's room, which is looks like the legacy room right now, and then the chairman's room, which looks like the executive board room that we have currently. So again, all of this was designed not only for meetings and businesses, but also the general public. We've got the Cantina, which is a New Mexican restaurant. 20 seats will be seating for the bar area, and then the restaurant itself will be 50 seats. So it'll kind of look like a bigger version of Pan Asia, but with a fiesta theme. You'll be like tequila bottles everywhere, and lighted bar, a lit bar. So when you walk in, it looks like something you've never seen, maybe in Las Vegas only. Like maybe 6 weeks away, but May 9th is when we're opening this up. And so we're on budget, we're on schedule, nothing has ever veered from that. We're very happy about that, because as many people as ever built a house or any kind of expansion understands that it can, one variable can go the wrong way and it can go the other way, but we've been really very blessed by the Creator to continue to have this property do really well with its budget and its schedule. So again, we try to do everything we could to have a competitive advantage over not only the other casinos in our market, but also the other business spaces in our market. So we're really, really excited and I think the community is definitely going to be proud of it when they see it.
Lummi Chairman Tim Blue, too, is getting ready for a halibut fishery, where we managed to catch him for this week's Chairman's Update.
Greetings to Lummi Nation and the Salish Sea and the greater community. As you said, it's springtime and a new season's upon us, just ending the winter season, a time where we gather as people, and now it's time for us to gather our resources and gather for the people, and also continue gathering as groups. I know that the canoe clubs are training and getting ready, and both for the war canoe races and the paddle to Quinault this year. So there's a good year ahead of us. And we're off to a good start, and we're thankful for all that the Lord has blessed with us. The halibut season will start this March 23rd. Our fishermen are getting ready to produce food for the families and food for the world, just as we have always done. So we're very proud of that, very proud of the fishermen participating in the fishery, and as always, a topic that's been pretty disputed and pretty very concerning to the tribe, rightfully so, that there's been a ruling from the court. Judge Martinez has ruled, we've lost, in his eyes, part of a territory that we know is near and dear to our heart and an integral part of our UNA. So we're paying very close attention to that, working with our neighbors and family members from Jamestown, Lower Elwha, Port Gamble, continue to reach out to them, make amends, continue to work on as members of the community, which we are, family members and members of the Salish Sea community, to make things right. We're doing everything that we can to reach the table with our family members from the Sklalams to make things right so that our communities can meet all of our responsibilities. So for this first opening, we wish our fishermen well, wish our families well, and may it be productive, and may we contribute to the economy of the world and to the the greater spiritual needs that we get fulfilled from harvesting from the water. So our hands go out to our fishermen, and best of luck, and may it be productive. So the most recent trip that I myself, Councilman Henry Kagi, Councilman Jay Julius, and we visited over in DC with, we went for the NCEI annual meeting. But while we were there, we met with, of course, our congressional representatives. We met with administration from Headstart and SAMHSA, discussed new opportunities for the federal government to meet the trust responsibility for health and education, discussed some of the impacts that the sequestration would have. So the federal government did cut its budget by 5% across the board, which will have impacts here at home. Fortunately, the LIBC had the foresight and knew that that was a potential harm and risk to our budget. But during our budget, when we passed our budget, we accounted for that, and we had the supplement ready. So services should not be affected here at home. Really, not too much at all. Services to the people won't be affected, but we still had to find out kind of where in the federal budget the cuts would be coming from, and we worked those out, brought that message back home to our folks here at the finance office. And of course, while we were over in DC, President Obama did sign into effect the reauthorization of the VAWA, Violence Against Women Act, and to our benefit and for all of Indian country, they did add provisions that would allow Indian country to fully recognize, not fully recognize, but better recognize our sovereignty and our jurisdiction over protecting our people, and specifically protecting our mothers, our daughters, and protecting the women in Indian country. So that was a good step taken by the federal government, and we were very appreciative. The General Council held its fourth meeting of the year. There was roughly around 80 General Council members in attendance. We thank all those who attended, and we invite all General Council members to the next meeting, which will be reconvened on April 10th. Last night, the meeting of March 20th, we went over updates from the Economic Development Office and from the LNSO. So we got the updates on where we're at with both of them. The General Council asked for further updates and support for development with small businesses. So that's a good step and a good ask, and we'll be working with the Economic Task Force and LNSO to find the best method to encouraging and promoting small business ownership within the Lummi Nation, because as we know that's an integral part to any economy is small business ownership. So that involves our fishermen, our any small business owner. So that was a good reminder and a good ask from the General Council that we'll meet the need as best as we can. Also asked for and will be responded to is the plan for transitioning out of the Northwest Area Foundation Ventures grant. So this is a 10-year grant that is up in 2016, I believe. So we have roughly around 2 years to basically find out how are we going to carry on the services that the Northwest Area Foundation has brought to us, because that grant was part initiative, part programming. There was certain programming that was developed and brought to the Lummi Nation from the grant, and we'll find the best way to make sure that transition happens as smooth as possible. And also discussed at the GC meeting was the General Council is asking for an update on Cherry Point development. As Merle stated in his report last night, that the EIS process has begun. The Army Corps of Engineers has not started its process for determining whether or not a permit's going to be approved at the site or proposed site at Cherry Point. First, what they have to do is develop the EIS survey or process first, and so that's playing out. We've participated in our part along with other other governments, other interest groups, voiced our concerns about the anticipated risk of treaty rights, the risk of damaging our sacred sites, and overall damage to, you know, our ability to protect our resources at Cherry Point. And so now we will continue to work with the Army Corps, pay close attention to the process, and work for the people to make sure that this project or any other project, not just at Cherry Point, but just any project that would, you know, damage or hinder our ability to practice our treaty rights, that's unacceptable. We can't afford to allow something like that to happen. And so, you know, just as important as the need to protect our resources and the need to protect our sacred sites is the need to protect our families, to protect our children, because as anyone knows, we're merely borrowing from the resources of our children and grandchildren. So there's a need to protect the resources, and the Cherry Point focus speaks to that. The need to protect our fishing rights and work with our Sklallam families to make sure we regain our UNA, that speaks to that. It speaks to protecting the resources that belong to our children, and the need to protect our children that are either in the system somehow, or in foster care or in adoptive care. There really is a focus, at least on the council's part and also the community's part, on protecting our families and protecting our children. You know, as always, you know, it's an honor to serve the Lummi Nation. It's an honor to be a community member of the Lummi Nation and the Salish Sea community. We wish the best for our fishermen in this upcoming fishery. We wish the best for our families in this new spring season, and we hope that all are able to spend time with their families and wish all the best. We're here for the people, and our hands go out to all those that are helping us serve and protect our Stirlangan.
And finally, LNN received an exclusive tour of the new tribal center with project manager Dave Smith. Tribal employees will be moving in April with a grand opening sometime in May.
Oh, if I were Lummi, I would be very proud to walk up on this building, because I know it'd be the tribe's building. A lot of the tribal people are working here. It's of them. It's for them. I would be very proud to be a Lummi if I walked up on this building. Well, we started out, we went through some typical office spaces and the way the thing is done, and it's getting close to being done. And then we walked up and looked at what I think is the most dramatic part of the building is the lobby, and the beautiful old trees that are the logs that are creating that space, and then all that just dramatic greeting kind of thing that's going on in there. It's just been great. And then we went on down and looked at the law and order areas and some more of the office spaces, and then wandered out and looked at the maintenance building, and it's all coming together really nice. Well, the whole building is being heated and cooled from an underground well system that's out in the parking lot. That there's about 16 miles of pipe in the ground that takes the temperature from the ground, which stays pretty steady, and we can take heat out of that and heat the space, or we can take heat out of the space and put it into the ground to cool the space. And after a certain period of time, using all that natural temperature that's already in the ground, it'll help us just reduce all the energy requirements for the building, keeping it warm or cold. At the same time, we've got a lot of other things going on here. We've got lighting that's all controlled, and it's taking advantage of the outside light and whatever lights here, and they're only are on when they need to be on, and they're only at the level they need to be at, and it's a state-of-the-art building. There's lots of places for people to gather. There's lots of ways for them to gather. The whole building is internet connected and Wi-Fi friendly, and it's going to be high tech and very easy to use. We'll be ready to put people in the building in a matter of months. It won't be long now. There's a lot to do, but a lot has been done. So we're getting very close.
And now we'll check out some events happening around the Res and around the Salish Sea with Freddie Lane.
Thanks, Henry, and a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Freddie Lane. I'm going to take you around the Res. It was a hero's welcome to the NWIC Eagles. About 100 students, staff, and fans gathered on March 18th to celebrate the AIHEC Men's Basketball Tournament champions. The Eagles brought home the title both in 2012 and 2013. Each year, the American Indian Higher Education Consortium hosts one of the largest basketball tournaments in the country, and Mike Shang and the crew are most proud to represent NWIC.
Can't even explain it. It was great, man. It was to compete with all the native teams out there, you know. It was awesome. Man,
Frosty, it snowed. Big mall. We walked through the snow. We had snowball fights. We had fights on the court because that's how we wanted to win. We had to make every battle a hard fight, a hard-fought battle. Yes, sir. We had to do it as a family. That's our main goal, to do it as a family.
My husband had a chance to go to the games, and so he said that semifinals was against Salish Kootenai College, and the championship went into overtime against Oglala Lakota College. And so it was an awesome, awesome game. He said he could tell the boys wanted the game, or he wanted to win the championship bad. He said they did great. It was a teamwork effort, and he couldn't be more prouder for the boys. So,
what about for you, Matt? What was the highlight?
The highlight was winning when that buzzer went off and we won. That was a highlight for me. And getting to celebrate all our hard work throughout the year just made it all worthwhile, especially with my brothers.
I just want to thank everybody for coming out and supporting us. I don't know, it was tough all year, I guess, getting up at 6:30, coming to practice every day, but it was very good. We had ups and downs, but in the end, it was all worth it, I guess. It was a lot of fun. I was just glad to meet, all of you guys. Everybody's different, and I don't know. We won, I guess.
I think what brings student success, but also I guess with athletes, with their success, is the importance of and dedication with teamwork. I said you can have a roster full of great players or excellent players, but it's important that they play together as a team, and I think that the college really stresses the importance of teamwork, community, and I feel like all of those factors play into their success. So.
And for all you baseball fans, the Lummi Blackhawks will host LeConnor on Thursday, April 11th. First pitch is at 4 p.m. The Blackhawks will host games on April 15th, April 22nd, the 25th, and the 30th, according to Coach Jim Sandusky.
First, I'm coaching the baseball team, and right now we have 18 players out, which is a lot for baseball. We've played 2 games so far this week. Past week we played down in at NWIC and also played down at Muckleshoot. So Muckleshoot game was the first time we'd actually been out on a field because our field's too wet to get out on yet, but we've been practicing out on the football field, so still didn't prepare us enough to kind of get ready, but we didn't do bad for the first time out, and suffered a loss that first game, but that's just the way it goes when you don't get enough practice live on a natural field or a real field. So came back and played again at NWIC the following day, and had a great game, a lot of hits. We went we had 24 runs to their 12, so a lot of running around the bases, a lot of exercise for the guys, and it was fun.
How about the track and field? You got a few students out in the...
We've got approximately about the same number of track people out, almost 20 right now. So, and some of those baseball players are also on the track team, so they're doing double duty, and they're having fun doing that. So it's just trying to encourage them to get as involved as they can. With the new facility, with the new field, obviously we're trying to beef up our track program, so that's trying to take some priority on that, and we'll be going to our second track meet today at Concrete, and you know, we've got a lot of field event people in the boys and girls, so we're trying to encourage some of the other guys to still come out so we can get some runners, some sprinters, some relay teams, and so forth. And we're trying to gear up for our April 27th. It's going to be the Lummi invite, and inviting Tahola and Muckleshoot will be here, so kind of an all-native type thing, and it'll be a lot of fun.
And in Lummi Youth Rec news, we stopped by to see our good friends Jerome, Toby, and Sarah Brady. We got Easter coming up here. I know basketball is happening, and there's a youth tournament. What's going on, Jerome?
Well, we're busy here at Youth Recreation. It's change of the seasons right now. We're just wrapping up all the winter sports, getting ready to welcome the spring sports, and we got a lot of events, activities planned for the youth. And Sarah can tell you a little bit about some of the youth activities we got coming up.
So we have baseball signups right now, and hopefully next week sometime we'll start getting the kids out on the field. As of now, we have 4 teams to participate in t-ball, baseball, and softball, the most we've had in the past couple of years, so I'm excited for that. We have intramural for the adults Monday and Wednesday nights. We're in the second week right now. After maybe mid-April, we're going to have a closing tournament and hopefully start another season.
Out, we're going to have a big Easter egg hunt here, bouncy house, train rides. Commod Squad's going to provide another excellent lunch for the community. And we're going to start that March 30th, 11 o'clock to 3 o'clock here at the old gym. And we want to welcome the whole community to come on out, have a good time, eat some food, find some Easter eggs, and just come on out and enjoy the day with the Lummi Youth Recreation and the Commod Squad. We want to thank everybody who's helped contribute to that, the TANF program, ETC, JOM, Commod Squad, the council. Everybody's done a good job of stepping up and making sure we provide a good day for the kids, and hopefully everybody comes out and enjoys it. Also, I want to let the community know that we at Youth Rec will be sending out the sign-up sheets for the Spring Break Day Camp. That's going to be here at the old gym April 1st through the 4th, and we're going to set up and organize a bunch of activities for our kids to come out and enjoy their week off of school. And we're working with the JOM program, Commod Squad, the TANF program, and we're going to be sending out those emails and those flyers for sign-ups here in this next week. And hopefully everybody can sign up and get one of those spots, because we're limited on the spots, but we want to try and include as many people as we can.
And a grand opening ceremony was held for the Lummi Healing Spirit Clinic on Thursday, March 21st at the Lummi Care Center. One of the counselors there at the OTP Center, Matt McGrath, gave us a brief overview of the grand opening and the Healing Spirit Clinic.
We're really excited and pleased to announce the grand opening of the Lummi OTP, which is Opiate Treatment Program. It is medication-assisted treatment for opiate-dependent people. And it's been a lot of planning, and we've been open since January 23rd, but we kind of did a soft opening and got all the clients served and people that were really in need, and now we're doing kind of a ceremonial opening. But really we're open every day for active dosing, and we've got at least 250 people in the program already, and we've got 150 or 75 that come to our waiting doors and our dosing windows every day. So we're just kind of excited to let the community know this, and the greater community too, because a lot of people have supported this effort. It's been a dream for several years now to go from the doctor model of the OTP to a clinic model, because we had limitations where we could only have 100 to 125 people, and so we had people on the waiting list, and we had people dying, and we needed the council and others that were in charge decided that we needed to go to a clinic model. And so we pursued that and went through the state and the federal government to get licensed as an OTP, which allows us to have up to 350 people and to get rid of all of our waiting lists and to have more control over the medication so that we can cut down on diversion and we can increase the compliance with the treatment end, because our goal is to move away from what they call harm reduction to more of a journey to wellness. So we're trying to do a couple of the counseling, and basically what we've got is we've got the medical model and then we've got the care model, the psychosocial, and we're trying to come together in a good way to move forward to meet the needs of the people that are struggling with this, which we know is an epidemic here on the reservation. So.
In other news making headlines around the res, Doug James will be hosting a Lummi Prayer Day on Saturday, April 6th. Begins at 6 a.m. and goes for 12 hours till 6 p.m. at the Wechlium House. Doug is also working with a group called Rising Above. It's a conference coming to Lummi Nation beginning April 11th through April 14th.
A little update on the community prayer gathering that we were talking about on the 5th. We got an update. It's going to be April 6th, and it's going to start at 6 a.m. till 6 p.m. It's going to be a 12-hour prayer session for our land, for our community, for our healing, and praying for Rising Above too, that the Lord will watch over this and protect each and every one that's coming, you know. So that's April 6th, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., a 12-hour prayer session. And so Rising Above, they're really good. They're well organized on what they're offering. They will have counselors on site. They will have prayer staff on site, you know, for those that want prayer. It's an open invitation. We're asking that those that want to find a healing to come. You know, we're just reaching out and asking that just to come and share life strengths and hopes, you know. We will have a worship team from Rising Above. They have one excellent worship team. Howard Jolly is head of the worship team. Mervyn Chichu, he's the president of Rising Above. He comes from way over on James Bay area. So these staff are spread across Canada, and when they come together, you know, they help coordinate everything to put these conferences together. We run into, like I was saying, we run into them last year and asked them what would it take to come to Lummi, and they said an invitation. And so we said come, you know, and that opened up the pathway for Rising Above to come here. This is the first time that it's ever held on any reservation. It's going to be the second time it's held in the United States. Tacoma was the first Rising Above conference in the United States. That was their 19th conference. They got a conference coming up in May in Vancouver of this year. So these people are really busy, but they're dedicated in what they're doing. They're dedicated of bringing these healings to First Nation people and to all people that are looking for a way to heal.
All right, and we're here at Headstart with Doreen Vargas. Doreen is getting the word out for registration for Headstart in 2013-2014. It's just around the corner. What's going on?
Correct. Right now we're in the middle of doing the self-assessment for next year. The self-assessment is something the community works with us and how we operate with our program. So the input from the community is important to how Headstart is operated. And due to the 5% decrease from DC in our grants, so we're going to be having to cut back a little bit on next year from our $91,000 we would normally get. And we are having 64 graduates this year in Headstart, which is kind of a record for us. Commonly we only had like 45. We're waiting on the policy council and the parent committee to get the date set for our end of the year celebration for the children. And it will be pretty large this year because of all of our graduates we are going to be having. And our kindergarten transition date, the teachers from Lummi Tribal School and Ferndale School District will be coming here to meet with our children on April 11th. On April 16th and 18th, we'll be making field trips with our kids to those schools to visit the classrooms and get them custom. And our summer program is usually for the kindergarten readiness. I know there are a lot of 3-year-olds out there that want to attend summer school, but it is primarily for the 4-year-olds to transition them all into kindergarten. 4-year-olds are our priority. We're actually called the Early Learning Program, and it does consist, which our Headstart, we maintain 117 student enrollment for Headstart. We have 72 children enrolled in Early Headstart, which is the home base, the daycare, Scott Road Daycare, and the Teen Parent Center. So our teachers usually put together an Easter egg hunt with their students for Easter. We try to get the parents involved, so it's a parent activity, family activity day. Oh, the other thing we cover during our visits for kindergarten transition is that the teachers will go over with the students the new school boundaries, because the boundaries changed, and the lunch program, transportation, the IEPs, which is the individual education program, and the events that they have, and the policies for kindergarten.
And our cousin Linda Delgado is giving us a grand tour of our sea ponds here. Cousin, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
What's going on here?
Oh, we currently have a 500,000 yearling coho on station. They're just giving them a feeding for the day, and we'll be releasing these yearlings in about 3 to 4 weeks. They should be about 6 to 8 inches long when we release them. And we currently have a 500,000 fall chinook on station. They'll be reared up until the end of April and either be released in April or the first part of May. It all depends on the water temperatures. You know, water temperatures can heat up enough to release our fish. So, but our season is just starting. We hope to have a good one and release a whole bunch of fish for our people.